I just wanted to make a quick little video for you guys showing you my intake manifold while it's all apart. I did get my engine back, but we're waiting on my clutch, my bell housing, and my tranny swap stuff before we can get this all finalized and put back in the car. Here we have these emissions bungs that I deleted. All I did was I just took one of these guys and just got them out. And then I tapped the holes and put these socket heads on. I don't remember the exact size of the bolts. I did all of this stuff 5 years ago, so I don't really remember the specifics, but I tapped it and then I put a bunch of JB Weld, not too much, but I put JB Weld on the threads and tightened it up, and it's been fine ever since. Moving on, I'm going to show you where I pulled my coolant feed and return. So one of the hoses is right here. Both hoses are 5/16. I think it's fuel line. That was just what AutoZone had. And now where my other hose comes from might be a little different than what other people do. Again, this was like 5 years ago when I did this. I think there's like a bung or something here that I removed, and then I took this brass fitting, and same thing as these. JB Weld never gave me a problem. I don't remember the exact size, but probably 5/16 barb. And then I made this brake. I believe when I had the bottom mount turbo set up, I did this so I could actually you cannot get at this when the intake manifold is on the car. So I made this to make it easier to get on and off. With the bottom mount, there wasn't a lot of room to really get it like the fittings on the side of the turbo. I don't really remember, but this is still nice regardless, and I haven't had any problems with any coolant leaks whatsoever. This is hidden right behind the head, but still easy to get at with the engine in the car. And now for this pipe. I don't think I'm going to be able to show you really good with this all together, but I should have some pictures from when I did this originally. I have this spare intake manifold that I had for parts, but I just realized that it is for S13, so it's kind of useless. But this is what it all looks like before I trimmed it all down. A little bit of difference between the S13 and the S14, but cut all the vacuum stuff off. But basically I just cut all the vacuum hoses off and just stripped it completely down to what I needed for the IAC to work. It do be a little crusty on here, but yeah, you can see where I cut that all off. I have that distribution block right there, and that is my vacuum source for my fuel rail or my fuel pressure regulator. So I used the barb for where the OEM has the reference for the fuel pressure regulator. I used that for my map sensor, and then I just used this P-clamp, I think, and that is on there and has never given me any problems, and the car runs fine. So some people might not like that, but that's worked for me, and that was the most tucked and simple way of doing that. A lot of people, they would just run a vacuum off the distribution block and mount it to the firewall, but I just didn't really like that, and there wasn't like a clean way or like a whole lot of room for that, so I'm really happy with this. And that's really about it. I personally think that the OEM intake manifold performs better than a short runner aftermarket manifold for cars at about 500 or below 500 horsepower. It might not look quite as good as an aftermarket intake manifold, and it's a lot more of a pain in the ass to work on. But that's why I simplified this the most I could, and I'm really happy with it. I think that this is about as simple and bare bones as you can really get it. If you want to use any of these tricks, that's why I'm making this video for you. If you're wondering about this, my fuel pressure gauge was hitting the strut bar, so I just removed it, and I might put a better plug in there, a better looking plug. One more thing, I talked about this in a video before, but I had a really bad boost leak coming from right here. Tier 3 is the shop that built my engine, and he also makes these block-off plates. I used to have an ISR one, and I had the paper gasket, and that's when I had the leak. I took the gasket off and I RTV'd it, but I let the RTV cure a little too much before I tightened it down. I think that might have also contributed to why I kept having the leak. When I put this on, I didn't let it cure for too long, and then ended up fixing everything, and the car ran and boosted great. So that's just one thing to look out for. Also, the powder coaters kind of made like a hard line, tape line right there when they powder coated this, and you know, just be careful with that, sand that back, smooth it out. And that's it. See ya.